Yes, indeed. So, it is the paper trail. You haven't seen the morning newspapers yet. You don't know what the headlines are. Don't worry, we've got you covered because in this segment, this is what we do. We dive into the headlines.
We do, and joining us this morning is political analyst and good friend of the show, Tessa Dooms. Morning, Tessa.
Good morning, guys.
Interesting spread in the newspapers today. So the Sowetan leading with the public protector withdrawing their opposition to Ramaphosa's urgent bid to stay her remedial action. She says this will allow for a speedy resolution to the matter. The Ramaphosa camp, people who support the president, are seeing it as a victory for Ramaphosa. Of course, I mean, we haven't dealt with the substance of her report, but that's what the Sowetan is leading with, which I thought was quite interesting. Also considering an interview she did 2 days ago, which I also thought was interesting. I mean, I saw you comment on it. She was basically saying that she will finish her term. She's not going anywhere anytime soon. Parliament actually doesn't have the capacity to remove her. So it's interesting that she removes or pulls out of opposing this particular action.
I think it was a good idea to not continue with this. I think it's not about the substance of the case. And the last time she opposed an interdict, it wasn't really a substantial input that she made there either. It was about the tone of the application that was made and the dignity. It wasn't about the substance. And I don't think she's got a very strong argument yet in her own mind about why interim interdicts are a problem for her work. And I don't think there should be a problem. I think the law allows for that so that we have fairness and due process. And I think respecting that only helps her case as opposed to takes away from it.
Okay, and then we move on to another story that I'm sure you will have seen. Okay, Dr. Death, guilty and stripped of license. And this for me has always been a big thing, right? Because especially when you're speaking about malpractice and causing the death of 3 of your patients, I don't think it gets more serious than that, right? And for me, I just thought, maybe South African health departments, and especially South African health fraternity, should start looking at these things a lot more seriously. I mean, you hear stories of people coming out of theatre with scissors still in their tummy, for example, and you wonder how that happens. But then again, and I'm not defending anybody, sometimes you'll be in theatre for 20 hours, right? And I can imagine a person gets tired after that. So...
Yeah, I mean, the Department of Health has actually got their own set of issues around this. In the last 5 years or so, the medical malpractice suits against the government is starting to cost us and the healthcare system a lot. So there has to be a stronger look into this. But also just the culture of suing around these issues is an important one. We have a lot of people who've been disenfranchised and their ability to use legal routes to pursue these things have been limited. So when, for instance, the Road Accident Fund gives people recourse if you're in a taxi and you're in an accident, there's at least some level of recourse. With medical malpractice, we haven't really had a culture in the country where if you're done wrong by the government, by any other medical practitioner, that you really have recourse if you're not of means. And so this is a good thing. It's going to bring accountability into the system, and as particularly in a place like Potchefstroom, which is, not the center, the epicenter of things. For somebody to be called to account in this way is a good thing.